What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Kingdom Sports with your girl Steph Jackson. Let me make sure, because YouTube tripping. Hold on. I can't see the situation. And what we're not gonna do tonight is teach for 5 to 30 minutes, and YouTube is jacked up. Okay, let me make sure all my stuff is good. Um, see if I can be heard. Un momento. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Turn it in. All right. Okay. All right, everybody. Welcome to Kingdom Sports. I am Stephanie Jackson. You can call me Steph. Some people call me Coach Steph. That's fine. Okay. Tonight we're gonna talk about taking L's. Nobody wants to take them. Nobody wants this. Nobody wants that. Um, Unfortunately, in this life, you're gonna take some L's. If you play sports for any amount of time, you're gonna take some L's. Okay. So it's Monday. I know it's the beginning of the week, and you like, man, stuff. You want to talk about taking L's. The week just started. I know, but let's talk about this, okay? Because I feel like this. All right. I feel like we live in a society and a sports world where, you know what I'm saying, nobody wants to take L's and nobody knows how. And so I know there was like this big thing with like participation trophies and all that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Okay. God ain't even out here giving out participation trophies. Okay. You get a prize when you run your race well, not when you just out here sucking up air. Okay. So let's talk about L's. L's is short for losses for all of my people who just don't know what the heck is going on. Um, like I said, I am Steph Jackson. I am a former athlete. I now work in this space with athletes. Um, I'm not gonna say I'm a life coach because that just seems so like, how you gonna coach me in life and you still out here trying to figure it out. Um, but I am an attorney, and so I do handle that side of things. But I also just love athletes because I've been an athlete since I could walk, right? So I understand athletes. I genuinely like athletes. And if you catch me on the right day, you know, I might give you 20. I'm just kidding. I ain't played basketball in a minute. But I'm just saying, okay, I am still very athletic. Okay. My last full season of football, or my last time playing football, because I played women's pro football and also basketball up to college, was 2019. Okay. So I hadn't suited up, hadn't played a game, all that since 2019. All right. But your girl is in pretty good shape. Okay. Not that I would ever want to play again, but I'm just saying, if you caught me out on the flag football field and you want to talk a little smack, don't be surprised if I hit you with the and ah. Okay, don't be surprised. Okay. All right. So let's talk about L's. Let's talk about losses. Everybody loves a winner. Everybody loves when you win. I remember in college, I played college basketball. And so one year we were so bad that, yes, we were so bad that my coach would come into the locker room and this man was talking about moral victories. I said, do we suck that bad that you gonna come in here and talk about moral victories? The short answer, heck yes, we was terrible. Now, don't get me wrong, we had some really good players on the team. Like I was good. A couple of my buddies were really good. I would say this. I was the best. I was usually the best athlete on any team I was on. I wasn't necessarily the best at the sport. I was just the best athlete. I've always been a gifted athlete. Okay. So let's just differentiate that. All right. Especially in basketball, it's a game of a lot of skill. And while I was a great athlete, there are some players that were just more skilled than I was at the game. I'm okay with that. All right. So anyway, we were so terrible that him trying to get us to see the silver lining of losing all these games was great moral victories. All right. I'm just going to tell you this. In sports, ain't no such thing as you either win the Super Bowl or you lose the Super Bowl. You don't then lose the Super Bowl and win the moral Super Bowl. It's not how that goes, at least not in our heads as athletes, right? Because who is out here? Okay. So I come up in we all grew up, Kobe Bryant, all that Mamba mentality. Um, a lot of people freaking hate LeBron because they say he's soft. Why? Because he doesn't to a lot of people, he doesn't have that mentality like kill, 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 win, win, win type of thing, right? He sees other things as winning, right? Playing with your buddies, all that. And that's fine. I mean, it has worked out well for this guy, right? He's got multiple championships. If they give him another one, he'll be tied with Kobe Bryant for 5 and all that. So there are different facets to winning, but we just gonna talk about just true blue losing, okay? When you did not win, all right? Losing things in life, right? Losing things in sports, like how do you handle that? What's the significance of that? Like, what does God have to say about it? Okay. And I'm going to tell you, if you're an athlete like I was, I didn't care what God had to say about losing. Losing is horrible, right? Don't nobody want to be losing. I remember Russell Wilson at his height of his career, right? This was the Super Bowl, the very infamous Super Bowl, where everybody in the freaking world, whether you knew anything about football or not, everybody watching that last play just knew that beast mode was getting that ball. What happens? Not only does beast mode not get the ball, they throw an interception at the like half-yard line. Okay, lose the game in dramatic, outrageous fashion, right? But I remember what Russell Wilson said when he walked off the field. He said, in that moment, okay, not a lot of people will be this sober in that moment. In that moment, he said that he heard God tell him that he would use even this for his glory, right? God, I just blew a Super Bowl, not like rec league type stuff. I'm talking about the biggest sporting event in America. I just blew it. And not just blew it, like I blew it in dramatic fashion, blew it. Like blew it so bad that the play I called not only like made no sense, but it like lost us a game and there was no time to come back. Like at the very end, it was wild. Like the dude that caught it, the intercepted ball, Malcolm Butler, like he a Mississippi guy, and his claim to fame was that play. Wild. I think Brady ended up giving the guy his Chevy that he won for being a Super Bowl MVP, something like that, something wild like that, right? Like bizarre. But in that moment, Russell Wilson is sober enough to hear from God and to hear God tell Russell that I am going to even use this for my glory, right? I'm going to use your life for my glory. What athlete, because I couldn't do it, could you? Like, what athlete would be in that moment? like walking to the sidelines after taking such a huge L in front of the entire world, being okay with that and being at peace with whatever was happening at the moment. I'm just going to tell you, I don't even know if today I would be okay with that. And I'm just going to say this, like, I was so bad in sports. My sportsmanship was so horrible, if you can call it sportsmanship at all, is that when I got saved in 2019, I walked away from playing sports, period. Like I said to myself, okay, at that moment back then, there was a demon inside of me, okay? The way I was like, I need to control this demon. Obviously, I didn't know about deliverance at the time. Now it's not here. But at that moment, before I got delivered from all of that, I said, I can't play sports because I'll never stay safe. Because when I play sports, it's like a something else took over. Okay. Back then. Okay. Back then it was like, this is terrible example. I don't support her. You know what I'm saying? I don't support other gods. I don't support, but just remember when Beyonce, it was like when she get on stage, Sasha Fierce take over. That's how I felt back then in sports. Like something took over and it wasn't me. Cause me, I'm a very nice person. I'll help you up. I'll say I'm very kind. Okay. Cause being nice is not, I'm very kind. I'll help you up. If I can help with anything, I will. That sort of thing, right? Like, I mean, I love it. I love giving to the poor. I love helping people. I love that, right? But when I play sports, y'all, it was a demon. It was a demon. Okay. So I didn't handle losses well at all. Like I'm telling you, I remember in middle school when my grandmother would always know when we lost because I would come home and she'll see my face and she'll say, "Who cheated?" Because every time we lost, in my head, the ref was cheating. There's no way this team beat me and my team, right? They definitely cheated. Okay. So I never handle loss well. I'm still really learning how all of this works, right? Taking L's or I shift my perspective and say, okay, Lord, this looks like a loss to me. Okay. Matter of fact, anybody would call this a L, right? Whether it's losing the game, not getting drafted, not getting picked up for a team, right? Losing the love of your life, losing friends, all these things in a very human way that we call losses, right? So I'm like, so what's up with this? Like what God says that our ways are not his ways are not our ways, right? His thoughts are not our thoughts. Okay, as the heavens are above the earth, so high as his ways are and his thoughts are above ours. Okay, so what we perceive as losses, what we perceive as something bad, often and most times in God's eyes, is that, hey, this thing has to happen, or this is a good thing to happen to you because there's something in you I need to pull out, right? When I look back at like things I deem negative, things I've lost, people who have left my life, um, things I've messed up, and I'm like, dang, man, I messed this up. I lost this. Woo, woo, wah, wah, wah. And then I look, and when I get to something like that again, because I've gone through it before, or because I had to walk through this valley of the shadow of death, and there's something in me, right, that is now standing up. That's something I didn't have before that I now have because of this L that I took. Okay, I'll tell you how this works. So I started back lifting weights after a minute off of weights, and I mean, I am in pain. Okay, today was leg day. It was very painful, guys. Um, but when you think about what you're trying to do when you lift weights, you're trying to gain muscle, right? You're trying to build muscle. Okay, this is good. It's very simple. I simplify everything. So when I look at losses, right, in life, we are trying to build. Okay, God's MO for us is to be the people he created us to be, right? Is that our souls would prosper. Okay, that's what God cares about. All this $1 million house, $1 million cars, all that stuff, that is a product, but that's not God's main thing, right? Winning Super Bowls, being the best at this, being the best at that, yada yada yada, ish boom ba, whatever. That's not God's main thing. God's main thing is to pull out of you what He needs to pull out of you in order for you to be the man or woman, boy or girl, that He called you to be and He created you to be, because He needs you for the kingdom. That's God's MO, advancing His kingdom. So if you look at that like God is wants to build muscle, He's got to break some things down, right? So when you're lifting weights, you have to you got to lose strength to gain it, right? You got to take L's. Okay. You got to walk around like something stuck up your butt because your legs hurt so bad in order to grow these things. Okay. I made the awful mistake of walking around a grocery store day after leg day. And I'm just walking like, God, where is the basket? Like leaning on the basket, like, oh my goodness. Right. Walking to the car in pain. Right. Those are L's. That's what L's look like. Okay. Losing something, whether it's a big game, um, whether it's somebody you thought was by your side and just a good friend, you lost them, right? Find out they weren't, right? Maybe you were leaning on this person so much that you needed to lose that friendship or that relationship in order to stand on your own 2 feet. Okay. Maybe the group of friends, like I had a group of people I was hanging out with, group of friends before I got saved. Now, when I got saved, I no longer had those friends anymore. Okay. Now imagine getting saved, and the life I was in was homosexuality and lesbianism. Now imagine me getting saved and then sticking with the same group of friends who were still living that life. I would not be the woman that I am today, and neither could I be, right? Because I had to lose those things and lose those people to now build muscle or grow into into who God has called me to be, right? That's what L's look like, right? That's when we say we taking L's, you taking losses. God says in Romans, or Paul, God through Paul says in Romans 8 verse 8, 8 chapter 8 verses 28, verse 28, and we know all things work together for the good of those who love God and who are called according to His purpose, right? So we say we say that verse all the time, and I don't really think any of us really believe it, to be honest, because when things don't work out, we run to God and cry, we run to Him and complain, as opposed to thinking that, hey, okay, this is one of those things. I know it happened to me. I know it sucks, but I'm gonna sit back and see how God gonna work this out. Like I'm gonna sit back and see how this kind of playing into God's plan, right? I heard somebody say, and I love this, like even when they like late for whatever, when things happen, let's say a plane gets delayed, you running late for the airport, whatever, they don't worry because, and I kind of picked this up and I'm like, God is shielding me from something. Like I'm a person who wants to get everywhere fast. I mean, if the speed limit 70, I'm going 90. I'm trying to get there, right? Usually. But I realized and I adopted this, that if traffic is backed up and I know I left I know I left in like an hour early so I can get there early. I'm not tripping, not because I know I left an amount of time, because I'll probably be late, but God is shielding me from something. Like even this traffic jam is working for my good. Okay. If somebody's tripping, um, and now we know we not being friends, or if I'm tripping or whatever, and I lose that person, I say, okay, they might come back around, they might not, but I know that all these things are working together for my good. Okay. Now I'm not saying like that even when something done intentional, even when somebody got a horrible um um a horrible motive behind them doing something to you, right? There's never a day where, if you love God and you are called according to His purpose, where He is not going to turn things around for your good, or where He is not going to then allow something to happen for your good. this is the example. And honestly, we can end the live after I give you this example so you can know how to handle ills. Okay. So let's look at the life of Jesus. Matter of fact, let's look at the death of Jesus. Why did he even come here? Okay. So could you agree with me that losing a child is like the biggest L you could ever take? Yes, right. Yes. A parent's child dying is the biggest L you could take. Right? Yeah. Okay. So let's look at God. God sends his son, his only begotten son, only son he, we can say spiritually birthed out, basically. The only son that came from him with his DNA. Jesus said, if you've seen the Father, you've seen me. Right? I can almost say that about my daddy. Me and that man look just alike. um, but so okay, God loses his son. God's son, Jesus Christ, dies. He loses his life on the cross. He dies. Okay. Now, that's an L. Can we agree that the way Jesus dying, period. Dying, period. That's the biggest L ever, right? It's an L, guys. Just okay, yes. If you're saying no, it's not an L, you probably want to log off. Or you want to DM me so we can walk through some deliverance for suicidal ideations, because what the heck? Okay. But anyway, so dying is a L. So Jesus died. God lost his son. Okay. Now, the third day, this son rises again, right? We all know all power, all might in his hand. Okay. But he took a L. He took a L. Okay. He had to take this L so that we now could be sons of God. So the rest of the world could be saved, right? Yes, he took an L, but it was a necessary L, like the biggest L ever, but it was a necessary L to now save the rest of all of humanity. Okay. That is a very intense example, but it's how it works, right? So when you lose games, when you lose friends, when you lose girlfriends or boyfriends, when you lose some, let's say even a loved one dies, right? And I'm not saying that's good. I'm giving you all the L's. These are L's, right? But there is something hidden in every loss that is going to help you win. There is something hidden in every loss that is going to pull out something from you that you will then need to win in overall, like in the future or in the now, right? Like I said, say that again. There is something hidden in every loss that you will need to prosper in the future. That is how L's work. Now, I think losses are God's mercy a lot of times. Okay. Um, think about it. When you're on top, it's really hard for people who are on top to grow. Okay. But one thing I think it was Matthew, Jesus said that it will be, and people run with this scripture saying, God wants you to be poor. No, he doesn't. Jesus said that it would be hard for a rich man to enter heaven, right? Like he was kind of giving an example in context. Don't take it out of context. Why is it so hard? Because they got everything, right? Like they have everything. Okay. They're on top. So it's usually really hard unless you are a person of great wisdom, unless you are very intentional about growing and you understand what it was like when you weren't on top. It's really hard to really grow in wins, right? This great woman of God, um, she would fast, and I'm sure she still does after like big wins, right? If she had like a big conference or a big whatever, she would fast. And fasting would then keep her humble. Because if you're talking about humbling yourself, go ahead and take that food out of the diet. Go ahead and fast, turn your plate down, drink you some water only. that'll humble you real fast, right? Um, so it's hard when you win and boom, boom, boom to really grow in those wins unless you are super, super, super intentional, right? Just like it's hard to, you can't grow muscle without friction. You can't grow muscle, right? Without something weighing on them, without having to lift weights, right? Without having it, whether it be body weight, or just like in a weight room or something like that. It's not possible. You can't grow without taking L's. You need it, right? Taking L's in your life and in life, period, is the same as lifting weights in the weight room. Okay. You need resistance. Think of L's. Next time you take a L, just say, okay, this is a resistance. I'm just lifting. I'm getting bigger. I'm getting better. This is just resistance. That's all it is. When you taking L's, it's just resistance, right? Paul said this. He said, in Philippians 3, verses 7 and 8, but what things were gained to me, those I counted lost for Christ. Yea, doubtless, and I count all things lost for the excellency of the knowledge of Christ Jesus, my Lord, for whom I have suffered the loss of all things, and do count them but dung, that I may win Christ. So Paul said, my ultimate prize is Jesus. I count everything as, well, dung just mean animal crap, right? That's what I count everything is crap, right? Compared to Christ. Okay. And if we're being honest, in this life, nothing compares to Christ. I don't care how many Super Bowls, how many championships, how many accolades you get. Those things are going to pass away. Okay. One, that's not going to get you into heaven. Two, that's not going to sustain you in hard times. Three, these is fair weather anyway, right? Like they saying Hosanna, Hosanna 1 minute and crucify you the next minute. Right. When something bad happens, you can't go and cry on your trophy and your trophy gonna make it better. You can cry on your trophy. You can cry on your championship rings, but there is a time in every human's life, every athlete's life, time in your life, whether you hit it or not, where you will be faced with a situation that only God can help you with. And if we're being honest, that's every day. You have no breath in your body unless God put it there. Okay, whether you follow him or not, whether you're being obedient to him or not, right? Whether you suck as a human or not, your breath, your very next breath comes from God, right? So Paul is saying here in Philippians 3, verses 7 and 8, that I count everything as a loss. Like Paul said, hey, everything a L. Like I'm everything lost, whatever. I'm good with everything. All right. I count everything compared to Christ as a L. Like you can have it, take it. Now, if you look at Paul's life, yes, Paul did a lot of like traveling and everything. We look at the New Testament, he wrote 3/4 of it. And if you look at I don't know where it is, but I remember reading how Paul was still working and he was providing for the people who were traveling with him. All right. So Paul wasn't no broke, busted and disgusted guy. Paul had a little shmoney on him. Okay. But he says, even that I count it as loss. Like my MO is Christ. I need to win Christ. His win was Christ. So when you put Christ at the center of everything, it is a win, right? So I remember I wasn't really saved at the time, but I was playing football and my uncle was like, "Man, you just be talking so much crap to people." And he ain't right. I used to be talking cash money. Okay. Just and not I never came out boasting. It was like during the game, after a play. Now I wasn't talking crap, before and all that, but let me have a play on you. Nah, bow, bow, bow. Right. And you could tell in football somebody held me going like this. They talking cash money. Okay. He said, but my uncle after the game, he was like, how you gonna witness to people if tearing them down during the game? I said, witness, meaning, how you gonna give them Christ? I barely had them. So I was like, Before I knew it, I said, they can get Christ after they take this L. Okay. I ain't out here trying to get nobody Jesus. Y'all finna take this whooping. Right? Like that. Well, I look at now what Paul says in Philippians 3, verses 7 and 8. He says, hey, Christ is my win. Everything else is an L. If it's not Christ, it's an L. So when you take that mindset and that thought and say, man, if it's not Christ, it's an L anyway. Like, this cool winning these games, thank God for these, accolades. Not so much as the accolades, but thank God for blessing me with the platform, blessing me with the talent. And when you have a platform, you have the talent, and then the accolades come. You just thank God for giving you the platform to now be able to win more souls for Christ. Like, for real, that's what it is. At the end of the day, this is the heart of God. If it's not your heart, then you will continue to be disappointed, dismayed, disoriented, all the disses whenever you suffer what you perceive to be a loss, right? Whenever you lose games, whenever you lose boyfriends and girlfriends, whenever you lose friends, right? Whenever you fail a class. I remember failing a class and I wore black for like the next few days because I had never failed a class in my life. What I needed that though, like that built something in me that I didn't have because I was so used to being a high achiever, right? I was so used to making A's, making maybe a B here or there, right? I wasn't used to failing. I needed failure, right? We need failure. Let's face it, guys, we need L's. We need them. You can't live without them. You sure can't grow without them. You cannot grow without them. I promise you, you don't even have to be saved or a child of God to know that, right? Like, you can't grow without losses. You can't. Look at animals, right? Look at like snakes. They have to, when they grow, they lose skin, right? Like, snakes are disgusting, and I don't know why people would have them, but nature even shows us, right? Like, this is corny, but a butterfly, the caterpillar, right, has to go into cocoon, lose its shape, lose basically everything and come out as a butterfly. Okay, a beautiful butterfly. So you need losses, okay? You need losses in life. You go Whether you need them or not, you will have them because you are in this world. It's just how it is. So the next time you get a loss, the next time something looks like it's negative for you, okay, the next time something is negative for you, the next time they come against you, the next time somebody smears your name on socials and all this and all that, the next time something fails, right? Before you get disappointed, before you complain, think about Romans 8, verse 28, and says, okay, God, what are you working out for my good now? Like, ask God, what do you want to pull out of me in this thing? Right? You've allowed me to go through this. You've allowed me to take this L, even if it's a game, right? Even if it's you didn't make a team, even if it's you lost your spot on the team. Like, okay, what is this pulling out of me? What can I pull out of this? Right? Don't waste a good loss. Say that again. Do not waste a good loss. Don't do it. Pull something out of it. Like that Denzel meme said, I'm leaving here with something. Don't waste a good loss. Okay. Why would you go through it and not get nothing out of it? That's crazy. It's like training. It's like you putting your body through training and lifting and all the things, training for your sport, your position, all the blood, sweat, and tears. You have a modified diet all summer, only for you to show up in the fall just to quit the team. Why would you go through all that? Yeah, you got a nice body, but you wasn't training for the body, right? So same way with losses. Don't waste a good loss, right? If you just got to sit there in the dark, I don't care, after whatever loss it is, You sit there and you say, God, show me what you want me to take out of this. I don't care if you got to do it with tears in your eyes. Like, Lord, show me what you want me to take out of this. Show me. Whatever the loss is, whatever the magnitude is, I want you to don't eat, drink a little water, maybe, whatever, fast, and then seek God's face. Ask God, hey, what do you want me to take out of this? All right. Whatever the loss is, you got to understand that God is God. There is no loss so big that God can't restore to you double. Look at the life of Job when you get a chance. Look at Job's life. I think in Job 42, God said, after Job prayed for his friends, God restored double. God restored him more. And Job had he took the biggest L's any other man had ever taken outside of, Christ losing his life. Job took the biggest L's of any living human at that time or ever, right? And so at the end, God restored it. When Job came to himself and really went to God, we see a restoration. So Job didn't let all them L's go to waste. Okay. He didn't let all them L's go to waste. All right. So don't you let any loss go to waste. Whenever a disappointment comes, before you complain, before you get down, sit down and say, God, what do you want to get out of this? Okay. What you want, you got to tell me. What are you pulling out of me? Right? And then dissect it. Like, spend some time with yourself. How did this make you feel? What was your initial reaction? Okay. Just know that when you take a L again, it won't be the same. If you see this thing again, it won't be the same. Right? So that's what I got tonight. Taking L's, right? Just know that they are a necessity of life. And the next time you take a L, don't get down in the dumps, right? Don't get down on yourself. Go to God and say, okay, what can I take from this? Say, hey, what can I take from this? God, what you want me to take from this? And your perspective will be so much different. You'll look at losses completely different. I promise you. All right. And anyway, like Paul said in Philippians, I count all things lost. I'm here to win Christ. You got to have that. Look, we got a new president, just got inaugurated. Everybody, I'm not going to say everybody, but most of the country and the world is like, okay, he going to make things right again. No, I need to know no one man can do that. There will be some huge losses in 2025, right? It's just, that's how it is. It's going to be some huge losses. So now you got to have a system in place that says when you see these losses, you say, okay, God, I'm not going to get in fear. I'm not going to despair. I'm not going to do this. What do you want right now in this moment? Because you're not going to allow these losses, right, without pulling something out of us or setting us up for eventual win. Okay. So just know all things work together for your good if you love God and you are called according to his purpose, meaning you are currently doing God's will in his will. Okay. Go to God. Just make it a habit. Everything you see, every win, go to God. Every loss, go to God. Especially in your wins, go to God. Okay. That's a mistake I've made far too many times, winning and thinking all everything good, and it set me up for bigger L's. Okay. So, hey, you in this world, L's happen to the best of us. It is what it is. You're going to take L's in this life, but just know that even in those L's, something is in there to then help you win again. All right. That's all I got, guys. I'll see y'all back here tomorrow, same time, 10 p.m. Eastern, same place. Meet me on YouTube. If this helped you, like, subscribe, okay, comment, share it with somebody that's currently took an L, right? Share it. I think it's gonna bless them. All right. So that's all I got. I love you all, but remember, Jesus love you more. Peace.